Speaking of big events, if AEW is closing the year with a big show, New Japan is opening the new year with one. That is Wrestle Kingdom 20 on January 4th at the Tokyo Dome with 50,000 people expected, making it the largest crowd for a wrestling show anywhere in Japan since Antonio Inoki's retirement in 1998. It is a show that is built around the retirement of one person, Hiroshi Tanahashi, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And this is all coming just weeks after John Cena wrestled his retirement match, where WWE positioned him as the greatest of all time. Tanahashi is truly one of the GOATs. And in Japan, you could argue, the greatest, but then you get into a discussion about Kobashi and Misawa, Liger, Muda. Some people may say Inoki. I mean, he's up there in that mix, though, for sure. I don't want to say that he alone saved New Japan Pro Wrestling, but he more or less did after the fiasco of, the Inoki tenure in the mid-2000s. That company was close to bankruptcy. And Tanahashi's work on top brought back a lot of fans. He brought in a lot of new ones, too, which led to the business boom that New Japan experienced in the 2010s. Then Okada came back from excursion in TNA as the Rainmaker, and he got over as a main event player. And so you had Tanahashi and Okada as the two top draws, right? The Austin and Rock in many ways of that New Japan era. Now he's also the president of the company. So it is hard to overstate how important a figure Tanahashi is to the history of New Japan. That is why they have sold 50,000 tickets for this show. Now, Aaron Wolf, who was a gold medalist in judo in the Olympics a few years ago, he is making his in-ring debut. That is the reason why the show is airing on network television over there for the first time in 20 years. But it is also likely the reason why the show feels so truncated when you look at the card as compared to previous Wrestle Kingdoms, even though the show is not airing live on TV, right? It's airing on TV Asahi. I believe it's airing on a delay. And I don't even think they're airing the whole show. They're airing less than 2 hours of it, just the top matches. But I guess they need to make sure they get those matches over and done with in time for them to then air the ones they want to air during the allotted time. So it is very likely affecting how many matches they have on this show. Because usually these Wrestle Kingdoms have so many matches. They're 5.5 hours, and it's a long show. But it's not like AEW where they do that literally every other month. It feels like, you get your one big dome show every year that goes 5 hours, and sometimes it could feel epic depending on what the matches are. It doesn't really feel that way this time. New Japan announced the full card and match order this week, and honestly, outside of the top 2 matches, the card looks like shit for a show this big. I'm sorry. I mean, the women's match will be good. Probably not great because I doubt they get a lot of time. They usually get the short end of the stick on these shows. Mayu Iwatani and Azumi, they got like 8 minutes last year. Think back a few years ago, 2023, Kairi Sane, she wrestled Tam Nakano, and they got like 5 minutes. So I don't think these women are going to get a whole lot of time for their match. Otherwise, sure, it could be great, but I'm not expecting it to be. Tanahashi and Okada, they're going on last, as they should. There won't be any Rock Hogan here in the middle of the show. But the card looks very weak, for 50,000 fans at the Dome. With the New Japan Rambo on the main card, where it usually takes place on the pre-show. This time there will be no pre-show. The Rambo usually goes 30 minutes or more. So that's going to take time away from some of the other matches. But Tanahashi and Okada, they're going to get all the time they need. And I'm sure there will be some sort of ceremony or speech from Tanahashi after, we got no speech from John Cena after his final match. I mean, even Bill Goldberg got to say a few words before NBC cut him off. Cena just chose to say nothing. Took his clothes off and he just marched to the back. That will not be the case with Tanahashi. He'll be air guitaring his way all the way to the back. But I don't understand how this card was put together without an eye towards the future. There's so many names missing from this who should be showcased with that many eyeballs on the show. And I say missing, I mean, some of them are in multi-man matches. Some of them may be in the Rambo. But outside of Yota Tsuji, who's challenging Konosuke Takeshita for the IWGP title, there's no one else outside of Tanahashi and Aaron Wolf really getting the spotlight here. And we don't even know how good Aaron Wolf is going to be. It's his first fucking match. Shota Umino was literally in the main event of last year's show. He headlined the Tokyo Dome. He went 45 minutes with Zack Sabre Jr. He isn't even on the card. At least not yet. Meanwhile, Sabre is not listed for the show either. He just won the World Tag League. He's going to be headlining their New Year Dash show. That's the night after the Tokyo Dome. Whereas normally the winners of the Tag League would be challenging for the tag team titles at the Dome. It's all very strange to me. It has to do with the time limitations. There's nothing else that makes sense. I just don't know why you would not want to take full advantage to put some of these other guys front and center who you want to build this promotion around going forward and feature them in something meaningful on this card, on the undercard. You know, the golden age of New Japan is dead. It's over. Tanahashi is the last remnant of it. Right? They got to go full bore with the new guard. They have a 4-way match to decide the number one contender for the junior heavyweight title, but no actual junior heavyweight title match on this show. They have a number one contenders match at the Tokyo Dome. After Doki, he got injured at the Dome last year in his match with El Desperado. He doesn't even have a spot on the card. And he's the champion. Unless he's injured again, but I mean, I haven't seen anything about that. But here's the full card with some of my predictions. I'm not doing them for every match, but my predictions tossed in for the key matches here. So this is the match order. They're opening with the first ever Tornado Ranbo match with the never open weight 6-man tag team titles on the line. Toru Yano, Yo, and Master Wato are defending their titles. Teams will enter at 1-minute intervals, and if one member is pinned, submitted, or thrown over the top rope, that team is eliminated. And Tomohiro Ishii will have a spot on the card in here. They just announced him for the match. He's been out with a dislocated shoulder that he suffered working for AEW in October. Second from the bottom is a double title match with the IWGP Women's Champion Shuri defending against Saya Kamatani, defending her New Japan Strong Women's title. I will go with Kamatani here. I see a lot of praise for her work. I have not seen much of it. I know that she won the voting for Most Valuable Player in the Tokyo Sports Awards for 2025. That's basically their Wrestler of the Year award. It's the first time a woman has ever won the award. Even Kenta Kobashi said that he voted for her. And Tanahashi came in second. So I'm going with Kamatani for the win. El Phantasmo will defend his New Japan World Television title against DDT's Chris Brooks. Then we have a Tony Khan special on this New Japan show. It's basically an all-star 10-man tag team match with Hiromu Takahashi, Shingo Takagi, David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, and Drilla Maloney taking on Great Khan, Callum Newman, Hinare, who has been out for a year with a knee injury, and 2 mystery partners representing United Empire. And we know one of those mystery men because it has been revealed that Andrade is returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is going to be his first appearance there in over 10 years. And he was revealed as the business backer of the United Empire. So he will fill one of those mystery spots. And clearly there are some moves being made behind the scenes. Yeah, he was just at the House of Glory show on Friday night. Now we get the news he's going to be back in New Japan. So I think it's only a matter of time before we see him back on AEW television as well. We have a 4-way number one contenders match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title with El Desperado, Kosei Fujita, Taiji Ishimori, and Sho. Doki is the champion and actually has 2 titles right now, including one half of the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles, and he is not even on the damn show. It's the first time since 2012 that the junior title is not being defended on a Tokyo Dome show. Desperado, he's had that title how many times now? And Ishimori too. I would go Fujita or Sho for the win here. I'll say Fujita wins. Then we have Aaron Wolf in his very first professional wrestling match, seen by the entire world on their biggest show of the year, challenging Evil for for the Never Openweight Championship. Get ready for tons of interference from the House of Torture. Maybe he needs it, though. I don't know how ready he is. He's only had a few months of training. I know he's an Olympic gold medalist in judo, but, I mean, that doesn't make you a great pro wrestler. You know, does he have the instincts for this? Does he have the charisma to help carry him? Right? I haven't seen him, so I don't know. But there's an awful lot of hype around this guy. Maybe an unfair amount of hype. But if he shows something here, they make an instant star on day one. And if he doesn't, he may end up as one of the biggest flops of all time. I wouldn't be beating him in his first match in front of a mainstream audience that's there to see him. So I'm going to say that Aaron Wolf wins the Never title. In the second double title match on this show, the IWGP Global Champion Yota Tsuji takes on the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and the winner of this year's G1 Climax. Can you imagine if he wins the G1 and the Continental Classic in the same year? And if he does, it would be just 8 days before this match. Konosuke Takeshita. I mentioned those Tokyo Sports Year-End Awards before. In the voting for Wrestler of the Year, Most Valuable Player, Takeshita came in dead last with 0 votes. 0. In a year where he won the G1 and the IWGP World title and had some incredible matches, 0 votes. And you ask yourself, why? You know, how does he get not one single vote here? You got to remember also, he's not full-time in New Japan, right? He's got 3 different contracts. And he is splitting his time between AEW and New Japan, and DDT as well, but between AEW mainly and New Japan. And AEW always has first priority. I would think that has something to do with it. I can't speak to the mindset of the Japanese wrestling fan. I can't speak to what it is about this guy where they just have not fully made that connection with him yet. He's never going to be, he's an AEW guy. He's never going to be full-time with New Japan because, you know, the yen is very weak right now, and there's no way he would make anywhere close to what Tony Khan, I'm sure, is paying him, right? If he were to go work for New Japan full-time. Why do you think Okada left? So maybe it's just the AEW affiliation, and they see him as an outsider, and that works against him. But, I will also say, for as great as Takeshita is, and I sing his praises all the time, he doesn't have the charisma that some of these other big names have. There's not a lot of depth there beneath him going out and having a good look and having great wrestling matches. One thing I know is that they are closing this show with back-to-back matches with an AEW star in it. And under no circumstances should both AEW stars be winning their matches. I mean, at least one of them has to lose. And it is more important that Takeshita put Yota Tsuji over here and crown him as world champion and level him up, because Tsuji is one of the younger guys they should be building this company around in 2026. Now, is it going to work? They tried with Sonata. It didn't work. Is it going to work with Tsuji? Is he going to be the draw the way that guys like Tanahashi and Okada and Naito were before? I don't know. But the old guard has been phased out. They have no choice but to try. They have already waited too long. I think Takeshita winning this match would be very damaging. But Yota Tsuji has said that if he wins, he wants to bring back the old V4 version of the IWGP belt, which is still the best version. It never should have been retired to begin with. I don't know what they were thinking. And also, he wants the lineage of the current championship merged with the lineage of the previous title, because they started a whole new lineage when they merged it. I think it was Ibushi who was the first one to kind of, merge together what was the Intercontinental title with the IWGP title, and then that's how we got the IWGP World Heavyweight title. So everything's kind of all muddied up now. So he wants to merge the lineage, or lineages, I guess, of the championships. But the fact that he is claiming that he is going to do all of these things when he wins makes me think he's not winning, because I don't see them bringing the old belt back. So they're going to fucking beat him, aren't they? They are going to beat this man. I'm picking Takeshita to win, right? If I have to predict, I'm predicting a Takeshita win here, which I would not do. See, if he would have just kept his mouth shut, I would have gone Yota Tsuji, but I have Takeshita retaining. And in the main event, the real reason for the 50,000 fans that they are going to have in that building, it is the final match in the career of the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, against his greatest rival, the former IWGP champion and reigning AEW unified champion. I mean, is he still technically the unified champion, or is he just the international champ? I don't even know anymore. Kazuchika Okada, who has not wrestled in a New Japan ring in nearly 2 years. It is the end of an era. Tanahashi has been on rubber legs or knees for a while now. It's painful to watch him when he's walking out there, but when the man wants to, he can still put on a great professional wrestling match. And I think he's going to go all out here as much as his body will allow. He and John Cena both, they went on retirement tours this year. And, you know, it's hard to judge which one was better because I've had a couple of people ask me, right, now that we're at the end of the year, who had the better retirement tour? It's an impossible question to answer because they were so different. You know, Tanahashi will have wrestled over 140 matches this year by the time this show rolls around. Cena wrestled 18. That's a big difference. Tanahashi did it with a lot less fanfare than Cena. Cena had more moments. Tanahashi had more matches and output as far as that goes. And Tanahashi, again, he did it with a lot less fanfare. And most of his matches, by the way, were not even the main event on those shows. There were a lot of shows where his match was like in the mid-card. But their importance to their respective companies puts them in the same category. But Tanahashi was far more important to the health of New Japan than Cena was to WWE. If Tanahashi does not get hot when he did and carry the company into a new era, who knows where New Japan is right now? Who knows if they're around right now? That's how bleak things were. Without Cena, it's not as if WWE was in jeopardy of going under. There's no championships on the line here in this match, just two old rivals going at it one last time. They've had this legendary rivalry for so many years. This will be their fourth Tokyo Dome main event together. Tanahashi has him beat 2-1 right now, although Okada has more wins over him overall. I think it's like 9-5. Who wins here? Doesn't really matter as much as Tanahashi being able to go out with a great match. That's why he chose Okada to be his opponent. He wanted Shinsuke Nakamura, but politically that was never going to happen. Okada is the better opponent for him anyway. And really, how could it have been anybody else, right? I mean, the difference between this and John Cena's last match is that Cena lost with the idea of putting over Gunther for business and making him the biggest heel in the entire company. Here, he's wrestling someone who does not even work for New Japan anymore. He's an AEW guy. So to me, the old school mentality of you always go out on your back in your retirement match doesn't really apply here. Okada winning does nothing for New Japan, not a fucking thing. He may want to lose to Okada, but I think Takeshita is retaining. And if Takeshita is retaining, then that paves the way, I think, for Okada to lose here. Because if I'm New Japan, I'm not putting both AEW guys over in the two biggest matches on my show. One of them, sure, but not both of them, let alone back-to-back like that. That would just be ridiculous. That's the only reason I say that. Otherwise, yes, I would say Tanahashi loses. But if I'm right on the other match, then Tanahashi should win this one. And if Takeshita does lose the championship, then I think it's okay for Okada to win. And actually, if anything, it allows him to then go out on AEW television in the weeks that follow the Dome show and gloat and rub it in Takeshita's face, rather, that, you know, he lost and I won. And you lost your championship, right? And then just build and build and build even more to the match of Revolution. So I actually think that works better.